Welcome. Welcome today to Stories in Focus. My name is Ellouise Schoettler. I'm your Storyteller Host. And as you know, we have guests, people who are going to have interesting things to say, and I'm really excited today because I have a woman who took things into her own hands. Would we call that a solopreneur? Laura Hagman. You know, hi Laura.
Hi Ellouise.
Yeah. Why would I say that? You started having your own concerts in your own house for storytellers.
I did.
Yeah. When did you start that?
I started that about 2.5 years ago. I had gone to the National Storytelling Festival, and I had been going to the festival for year after year after year, like 20 years, something like that. And I was just having storytelling for a weekend in October.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was driving back from the festival on a Sunday, and I thought, I need to bring storytelling into my life in a more permanent way. And knowing that I'm not quite talented enough to be a storyteller myself, I decided that I wanted to promote it, to give performers a chance to perform. And originally I thought, I'm going to do a festival because I always think big.
Yeah.
And then I came down to a more reasonable thing and started having them in my home.
How has that worked out?
It's been amazing and surprising and incredible. I came back in October from the Storytelling Festival, and as you know, Telebration is that middle of November,
exactly.
The weekend before Thanksgiving. And I thought maybe I'll just do a Telebration event to get started. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I'll just maybe send an email on the off chance that, somebody would come. You know, if you build it, they'll come. So, having been at the festival, I decided that one of my favorite new tellers was Kim Whitecamp. So I sent Kim an email. I think the subject line was, on the off chance, or this is a long shot, or something like that.
I know you hate me, but we
And she immediately, within 24 hours, wrote me back and said, I would love to come.
Good, good.
And then I asked around to find out what to do. I've said I'm going to have a house concert. Now, what in the world is a house concert? Yeah. And I started asking people how to do it.
Now, did you go, because let's just bring our audience in on this, you know, that house concerts like this are a lot of work, and I'll ask Laura about that, but they're also, for the storyteller, an incredible opportunity. And there's no storyteller that would turn down what you might think of as a modest venue, because we need people to hear our stories. So what you had was gold. You just didn't realize that.
I didn't realize it at the time. I do realize that now, that it's a really valuable thing.
Incredible.
But it's not, what's interesting is the house concert concept isn't just gold for storytellers, it's gold for any performer, I think.
Exactly.
Because I think the performer, I'm not a performer, but the performer gets to perform in an intimate setting, which is what they did when they got started. You know,
yes.
They weren't on this big stage with thousands of people in front of them.
Exactly.
They were in their living room, talking to people, or playing their guitar, or whatever their art happened to be.
And it harks back to the long ago tradition of storytelling, why people really learned to love storytelling in the beginning in a hut or a cave, or in a castle, or what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What was I thinking? And also it makes the point, I think, of what we've lost in society right now, is we've lost the dinner table.
Yes.
And that's where so much of the personal family storytelling used to take place.
Right.
And so the house concert is a way of getting back that feeling of exchanging stories.
Right, absolutely.
Who do you find your audience is?
Well, I bribed a lot of friends to come.
To get started.
To get started. And so I just have, I have a huge group of friends and acquaintances, people that I know that 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 I originally emailed. And the first time people came, they loved it. And then when I had thought I would do it this one time and probably
that would be it.
That would be it. And then, but I just came off of that weekend on such a high that I immediately wrote an email to Andy.
Andy Irwin,
Andy
who's been on this program. If you want to go back and meet Andy, if you haven't, you know.
And you should, if you haven't.
Yeah, he's a delight.
And I immediately wrote him because I knew that in January, the following January, that year that I had done it, that he was going to be in the area. And I thought, well, it's a great, house concert's a great add-on. I can't pay for somebody's travel expenses and their hotel stay, although they're free to stay at my house, but I can't pay for those expenses. I can give them the cash from what it comes in.
Yeah, from what the donations that people make at the door.
The donations that people make at the door. But so it works really well as an add-on for somebody who's already up here performing, and you know they're doing that library and this library and whatever, and then I give them a house concert so they get a Saturday night.
That sure is better than sitting in your hotel watching television Saturday
I hope so.
That you have a chance to tell your story, make a little money, and meet new people.
I hope so. But anyway, so to get back to your original question, how do I find the people? So I had that group of people that originally came and really liked it, and then I sent it to all those people, plus all the people I'd sent it to before, plus some new people that knew about it. And I always say, please forward this on.
Yeah.
You know, please forward if you know somebody who might be interested. And then it just kind of grew. My list grew from there, so that somebody would bring a friend, and that friend would just be like, wow, this is the great thing, and then that friend would come by themselves or bringing somebody else the next time, and it's just sort of grown that way.
Well, and the other thing is that your emails, which I receive also, you know, are very enticing. That you have a very personal way of putting it out there. Something that I'm doing that I really would like for you to come, or I think you'd really enjoy. There's a one-on-one kind of feeling to what you're doing.
And that's what I'm trying to do that. I didn't want to use like an email template or anything like that. I wanted it to be, this is my personal invitation for you to come into my home. You come into my home so that I can share this gift with you.
Right. So is there any advice that you have that you'd give to somebody who is considering, because house concerts are really very popular across the country, and storytellers are even now asking people to consider house concerts, you know, because of this intimacy of the venue and the easiness of it. But as a producer of these, talk about, you know, what tips you might have for somebody that wants to start one.
Well, my first tip would be just do it.
Just do it.
Just don't think about it. Don't think about all the logistics of it. Just get out there and do it. It's the first time you do it. You have to think about it, and it takes a little time. But then after that, I like now for me, I can do my setup. I can seat more than 50 people in my house, and I can do the setup in about 2 hours with my son helping me, and then tear down's about an hour and a half. I provide snacks and drinks, and I've got that down to less than $150 that I spend. So for $150 and 5 hours of work, I get 2 hours of joy and a party at my house, which you can't ask for more than that, right?
No, you can't.
No.
And the thing about it is somebody that's listening might say, well, a house that will accommodate 50 people must be a huge house. It must be a palace. Yeah.
No, you'd be surprised. I have a 2,000 square foot house that's on 3 floors, and I'm only using 2 rooms on 1 floor, so to fit all those people in.
And it's very comfortable because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, I've had house concerts at my house, and I don't have a son living with me. So that is a terrific asset you
It
have
is, yes.
there.
I could hire him out, I think.
Yeah, so that you do have to have physical help
You do.
to readjust your furniture
You
a little bit.
Yeah. I can do almost everything myself. There's a couple of things I have to say, Jake, come help me.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
But there is that wonderful feeling of meeting new people. Do you worry about the aspect of insurance?
I don't.
Okay.
Maybe I should, but I don't.
I don't. Well, I don't know. I just throw that out,
Yeah.
that we did. So I put on a little extra liability insurance so to cover if anybody fell on the front walk.
That's a good point.
Yeah, fell on the front walk.
Yeah.
But it's never been a problem.
Yeah, I've never had a problem. I've never,
Well, it's not unusual to invite 50 people to your house. It's
That's
just that
true.
unusual is to invite 50 people to sit down at your house.
Right, right. Yeah, that is unusual. I mean, I often have parties at my house, and I'll have that many people at the house, but to have them all sit down. But I usually, the chairs are up when people come, and then as soon as the storytelling's over, I fold the chairs. I always ask people to stay and continue the party, continue the conversation with the storyteller.
And people will turn
Tell
around
your
and fold up a folding chair they're sitting on.
Yeah, and so the folding chairs get folded up very quickly, and then the whole space is open. So
you hear that?
Yeah.
Think about it. Wherever you are, think about that. Because as a storyteller, you can seat 50 people. For a storyteller, an audience that begins at about 10 gives enough energy that you can really tell stories well. You don't like to work with people fewer than about 8 to 10. Maybe 10 is best. And then grow them out from there. But you don't have to start off with a requirement of 50 people to get a good performance out of somebody.
That's true.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do you think's your best level in your house?
I like it when I have about 45.
Right.
Because at 45, most seats are full. I think the house feels full for the storyteller. I feel like I'm doing quite a service for the storyteller.
Absolutely.
Which is, my main reason is to provide the service for the storyteller, but also to expand their audience, to introduce new people to storytelling. And so I feel like at 45, I'm definitely introducing new people to storytelling. When I go above 45, it starts to feel a little tight in my house. So
the other thing is that when I was there, and I would wonder if this is not true, you don't use sound equipment, so you don't have to worry about that. So that, and if you don't have folding chairs, then you can use your own furniture, and people next door have folding chairs.
Yeah, that's the first time I did it. My parents live fairly close by, and they happen to have 10 folding chairs, which are now I've inherited and they're mine. Yeah. You would be surprised how many chairs you have in your house to sit on. You count your dining room chairs, you count your kitchen chairs, you count desk chairs, the kids' desk chairs.
Everything does not have to match.
And nothing matches.
Yes.
And you can easily come up with enough chairs. You ask your neighbors to borrow chairs. Your church sometimes will have chairs. A school will let you borrow chairs sometimes.
So you see, there's not that much to it, but a lot of people sort of think that there is.
Yeah.
But there really is not anything more to it than an evening of a lot of fun and friendliness and a good feeling at the end.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I want to see the world.
When you pick up a book,
I used to read every night to all the younger kids.
and let your imagination break free, you won't believe how much fun it can be.
Let down your house!
Experience a world of adventure, excitement, and endless possibilities. Get tangled up in a good book. Explore new worlds. Read. Visit read.gov today.
Hi, did you come back? Oh, I'm sure you did, because you just got a lot of information about the new phenomenon in national storytelling, which is the house concert. I hope you're thinking about taking a tip from Laura Hagman, our guest today, and rolling out your own house concert. But now, Laura, let's talk about how you could have come to that intense interest in storytelling that you would want to continue it past a festival in Tennessee. So when did you first go to the National Storytelling Festival?
That's actually something that has faded from both my memory and my mother's memory. We try to figure it out, but I'm guessing it was right around 1990 that the first time we went.
You were very young.
Thank you.
You were very young.
I was younger, and I was working in DC for a company, and you remember way back when in the backs of magazines they had all those little ads, you know, for different things, and I used to love to read those ads. I'd always go and read those ads.
Yeah.
And I was reading those ads in one magazine, and there was a little teeny weeny ad for the festival for the National Association for the Preservation and Perpetuation of Storytelling.
Wow, what a big endeavor.
And I thought, that sounds super cool.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had started to get interested in storytelling, mythology maybe more than storytelling, or the idea of myth and culture, and how all cultures have mythology, and how the overlap of mythology and that.
Joseph Campbell.
Thank you.
Joseph
Campbell was
Follow your bliss.
Yes,
You did.
Yes, so I was reading Joseph Campbell, and I was very interested in this. Joseph Campbell was on PBS, and I was watching him, and I was just very much into mythology and the story, and I got into stories from America, like the Johnny Appleseed type stories, and looking for these commonalities in other cultures. And it was fascinating to me. So when I saw this ad, I thought, I gotta go. So I called my mom. I said, I think we should go to this. And she said, I think so too. And at the time, she was a third grade teacher.
Ah, okay.
So it was perfect for her. And she taught, usually she had a group of gifted and talented students, which she could do a lot of creative things that she wanted to do back at that time.
Yeah.
And so she said, yeah, she'd like to go. So she took, I think she had a couple professional days that she could take, because it starts on.
It's the first weekend.
It's the first weekend in October, and it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
And we've stayed once or twice for Sunday. We usually get up and leave on Sunday, but we get there on Thursday. Yeah. So she would always we would always leave when she got off work on Thursday, and she would take Friday off, and then we would have Friday, Saturday. And we went every year. She went every single year between 1990 and today. She's been there every year. I moved to Europe for quite a few years, and I would come back from Europe in October so that I could go to this.
Nice.
And but I didn't come back every year. And then once I had kids, it became more difficult. When my son Jake was born, I brought him. He was 6 months old when he went to his first National Storytelling Festival. So he went to that, and now that we've moved back here to the U.S., the kids and I and my mom have been going every year.
So you picked it right up.
We picked it right back up. So
yeah.
Since I don't know, about 8 years now, all 4 of us have been going.
That's lovely.
And we've even started to invite other kids to go with us.
So it's really become not only just the house concert thing, but it was central to the family, and the house concert was really a way of moving it in to your personal life.
Yes, it was.
The kids must love this.
They do.
meet the tellers.
Yeah, they do love it. Yeah. Yeah, and I try to always have tellers come that they know and like to see.
And that they will enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to do
What
that.
kind of stories do they gravitate to, these young people?
Humor is,
it's the leading thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what most of them like. I mean, Jake loves to hear Bill Lepp, and I love to watch Jake watch Bill Lepp.
Right.
That's better than listening to Bill Lepp, is to watch Jake's reaction.
Moment, and as a storyteller, I've had that happen in the 2nd, 3rd grade, where I was telling a story, and you see the light go on in the child's eye because they got it. They know what's coming, and they sort of projected themselves into the story.
Exactly.
You're talking about that moment.
Yeah, absolutely, that moment when they're so totally wrapped up in it, and you see that they're not seeing that they're sitting in an audience of 1,000. it's like they're there with the teller, and the teller's
Exactly.
telling them the story.
Do they say anything to you about that they first see that teller in a tent in Jonesboro, which can have 1,500, 2,000 people in it, but you feel like one, actually, if the teller's really got you. But in the house concert, did they ever talk about a difference in the feeling that they have about the story or about the teller?
No, they never really have.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good. I notice a difference sometimes.
Oh, tell us about
Not
that.
always, but well, I shouldn't say that I notice a difference. Sometimes I will have this preconceived idea that the person has performed before thousands of people, and so when they perform in front of 50, it's going to feel different. But it doesn't. Some tellers adjust.
Yes.
And it becomes a more intimate telling than they would have told on the big stage. So
I got challenged personally about that last Friday. I did a house concert in Pennsylvania and was talking to a friend, did it, and I was talking to my friend beforehand about something about the story. And the next morning she said, I saw it happen. We had been talking, and then when you started telling, I thought, that's a little performance. You know, that you do respond to the people that are there, but you just tone it down so that it's not like you're trying to reach the back of the tent.
And I found that the tellers that I have enjoyed the most, they'll start like we're having a conversation. They'll start having a conversation with you on the stage, and then the next thing you know, you're totally wrapped up in this story.
Exactly.
And to me, that's the pinnacle of good storytelling.
Well, yes, that's the heart of, because storytelling, I'm sure you've heard Donald Davis and other, really nationally known tellers talk about the fact that storytelling is a conversation. And that I love Donald for that thing. He talks about the conversational aspect of storytelling, because that's where the story emanates from, where it germinates, one-on-one.
Absolutely. And that's, I guess another reason behind my storytelling interest is I come from a family from Appalachia.
Yes.
And
West Virginia, I do believe.
West Virginia, exactly. And, just all these family stories that we have, and the colorful characters who are in there, and, your dad's sitting at the table and telling you these things, and my dad's very good at that, is like sucking you in and thinking that he's telling you something real, and then all of a sudden he's made up half of it.
I know. In North Carolina, we have those same kind of tellers. And for a long time, I've learned after a while that I didn't have to take everything that Daddy said.
No. No, at some point, this always happens at the dinner table, and at some point somebody goes, oh, there's just a groan that we've all been sucked in.
Right. What do you see of the change? Now, that's interesting. You started going in 1990 about, say, and now here it is 2012, last year, 2013 coming up. What do you think, or what do you see that you could just say is one of the biggest changes you've seen in storytelling?
Well, it's become way more popular.
Okay.
Way more. I mean, it's grown immensely. The festival's grown immensely from 1990 to now. It's a much bigger festival, which has its good things and its bad things, I have to say. The one thing that really struck me the first time my mom and I went to the festival was just how nice everybody was. It was just, everybody was so nice, and it was all librarians and teachers, and it was just this wonderful crowd of people. And now it's a much more mixed, it's not just this teacher, librarian following.
Well, it's the general public.
It's a general public it's become much more popular, so you have this, a broader group of people, which is great for storytelling. But the festival is not, it doesn't have exactly the same feel that it used to have. I still love it, but it doesn't have the same feel.
It's lost.
It's not as intimate as
now,
it used to
what
be.
we're talking about, if you don't know, is the National Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro, Tennessee, the first weekend in October, which is longer than 1990s. I think it started in the late 74. And it's in a historic town, takes over the town. There's an intimacy, and it has become sort of a pinnacle in this country. And so when everybody refers to the festival, that's the one that they mean, although there are many festivals everywhere. one of the things about it is that a small festival, don't think that you have to go just to the big festival to have wonderful storytelling. One of the things I like about the small festival is that it retains that intimacy that you're talking about. You know, that when it gets so big, you do lose some of the intimacy. I love a tent with 1,200 people or 2,000 people, and standing on a stage down there is electrifyingly energizing for the teller. But there is a difference. The stories are the same, but they bump up. You know, they elevate because you have to reach that many people.
Right.
But a small festival is beautiful in that you're talking to the person next to you in a different way. You know, you're knowing the people differently.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And there is at the National Festival, there is a tent on the hill, is a tent that is smaller than all the rest, and they usually put tellers who haven't told at the festival before up in that tent.
Yeah.
And
And you have to walk up.
You have to walk up the hill is the downside, but that's my favorite tent. I love to go to that tent.
Yeah.
Plus, you're close to the food there.
But the people who really want to hear the stories, the other place you spoke of was the swapping tent, and you can find swaps at all the festivals where you hear people that are not on the stage but are tellers. They just aren't on the stage today, and they're exchanging stories, which is close to the intimacy. Tell us about your daughter at the swapping tent. You told me that. Just quickly, just say a few words about that experience for her.
She was quite young. She would have been I think she would have been in 4th grade that year that we met. I'm sure she was in 4th grade the year that we met Adam Booth at the
who's been on this program twice. You know, they know him if they've been watching this.
So Olivia had decided that she was very much into acting, and she wanted to she'd been to the Storytelling Festival a few times, and she really wanted to tell a story. And so she prepared a story. It was a Just So story. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a Just So story that she had prepared, and she had, she'd done all the really interesting things with it, where she didn't memorize the story, but she had it pictured in blocks in her head, and we signed her up, and we went to watch her, and right before her was Adam Booth, and he was just stunning storyteller. And then Olivia came up next, and Adam stayed and listened to Olivia and gave her a few tips, and she was totally energized after that. And in fact, to this day, when my kids go to the Storytelling Festival with me, they're old enough now that they go on their own and do their own thing. But they always spend a lot of time at the swapping grounds.
Isn't that great? Because what you're saying is they're open to hearing stories from their friends, stories from everybody. And that's just such a great gift for them, that they will feel comfortable telling. I'm so sorry. That we're going to have to leave you, and it's been such a great conversation. I hope, hearing you talk, Laura, aren't you ready to have a house concert of your own? Think about Laura Hagman and her tips, which was just do it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Come back. We'll have a new guest in a few weeks. Thank you.